I appreciate the extra set of eyes around here. I really do. Especially with some nut job robbing all these movie stores.
It's my pleasure. Okay, I've patrolled these parts for quite some time. I know them like the back of my hand.
I fell in love with a client of mine.
Who am I gonna tell, man? I got warrants.
I'm a detective.
Okay, I'm just joking about them warrants.
Bingo.
I had a case for you.
At least give me your name.
From detective.
Hey. Normally I'd let you keep walking, all right? I need the money. So what's the deal with the guy you're seeing? Your boyfriend?
I just don't trust him anymore.
You always seem to assume the worst of a situation.
I wanted to make love.
Have you been tested recently?
You're really bad at this, huh?
Their name is Mort.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm pretty bad at this.
I can pay you off.
Hey, detective, you saved our lives.
I'm just doing my job.
He's become a completely different person.
Freeze! Get your hands up!
David.
Who's David?
I wonder how long it takes to clear a gun purchase. Do you have a gun for sale?
Are you 12?
12. The cops, the police, the feds.
Guns. I don't see any guns.
What about the wall of guns behind you?
I'm sorry, Mort.
We just put the gun down.
Listen, I already cocked it. I gotta shoot somebody.
Do you love me?
I do. I love you.
Let's run away together. Let's leave tonight. Right now.
Okay. Maybe you have the wrong address.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for The Private Eye, arriving in theaters on February 9th. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World, and joining me are a pair of the creatives and talents behind The Private Eye. First up, with a native hat, I got the writer, director, producer, Mr. Jack Cook, and actor extraordinaire, and also one of the visionaries over at Illusion Islands is my man, Elliot. How are you both?
Hey,
What's
great,
up?
great. How are you? Hey, thank you for having us on the podcast.
Hell
Definitely.
yeah, man. Excited to be here. Thank you for having us. And, very excited to show the world what we got going on.
Hey, most definitely, man. As a creative, as a filmmaker myself, it's actually what brings me to being in front of y'all right now. When you're in between projects, and you're still a fan of this industry, you want to support your fellow creatives. And so that's why I'm here chatting with you now. And as a creative, though, filmmaker, I know the journey it is to bring our projects out to the people. I think I read with you, Jack, it was like about 10 years specifically with The Private Eye.
Yeah,
And,
it took 8 years from writing the script, and it took me 8 years to raise the budget and actually lock in the cast. And it was a long journey.
Nice. I want to know a little bit more on that. But first, the first thing I saw when I was reading your bio, Jack, and then I was reading Elliot's bio, we got a pair of Cincinnati boys in the house, some Ohio
That's right.
cats.
Hey,
Cincinnati everything. Cincinnati everything.
I love it. So salute to you both, man. But, we're celebrating Private Eye finally arriving in theaters. But this is the first project from Illusion Islands. How did Jack, Cook, and Elliot get together to form Illusion? And now, and then Private Eye coming along with it. But just the genesis of Illusion, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I'll start it off by saying that we met on a set, and Elliot and I met on a set, and
In Los Angeles.
and didn't you see my ID or something?
Yeah, he gave me his crazy name. He's like, hey, I'm Jack Cook the 7th. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, check out my ID. And he shows me his ID. He's from Cincinnati. And I'm like, bro, I'm from Cincinnati. And then boom, it was like the universe just served up a friendship right up on a platter for us.
Yeah, and so we forged and we created the company. And the main reason we formed it is so Elliot could get on set more as an actor, and I could get on set more as a writer director. And we've been taking and running with it, and a lot of things are trial and error. And something I've noticed, especially about The Private Eye, is a lot of our cast members and crew are from actually Ohio or have Ohio roots. I think it's it's like we're hometown, but I think it's a work ethic thing too for me. A lot of trades families, so they like doing a lot of hard work in Ohio. But but Chip the Ripper is from Cleveland. Matt Rife is from a small town outside of Columbus, and we're both from Cincinnati. And,
Hope Ayiyi, our producer,
Ayiyi,
his mom's from Akron.
Yep. So Ohio roots.
I love that. That's beautiful. I know that connection when you're working on set, a bunch of different people you've never worked with before. Hey, you from here? You from here? Instant connection. That's beautiful, man. I love that.
Yeah.
So
Illusion, like he said, are similar backgrounds, working class families, but also we moved to LA with the same dream and the same vision and the same goals. And when we met each other and realized that we wanted the same outcome for our life, it was easy to form a partnership and a business together. Yeah, just all kind of unfolded smooth and easy.
Respect. I love that. Respect. Illusion Islands was formed. And again, what I appreciate, and you said, Elliot wasn't getting that many opportunities. You wanted to do some writing and directing. And as creatives, myself included, that's actually, it's funny, similar journey. As an actor, wasn't getting the calls. I'm multi-ethnic looking, and so why not start your own company and start, working with like-minded cats and then create your own opportunity. And y'all did that. And now the private eye is here.
And take the control in your own hands.
And
right?
I think a lot of people pass up that, you are the future. You're the future, like all the people that have been making these big movies like Martin Scorsese. I mean, he was doing the same thing with Robert De Niro. You know what I mean? Like they weren't anybody famous. They just wanted to make these awesome movies. And, people like you and people like Elliot and us, like we are the future generation. So we like to say we work horizontal, not vertical. We work with the best in the industry because the best in the industry will become the biggest. And and that's just the truth.
Sure. It's easy to dream and want to work with Denzel Washington and Steven Spielberg, of course. And that may happen, but it takes a little bit of luck and good timing and right place at right time, maybe some connections. But like Jack said, working horizontally, finding the next Denzel Washington and the next Steven Spielberg and the next, of all these top dogs, we'll replace them eventually. That's just the circle of life, right?
Yeah. It's old,
Respect. Let's go. I love it. So the other day I had the opportunity to chat it up with one of the amazing stars that you pulled into this. And I want to throw that into another question later, but Eric Roberts, man, legend. To have him involved with this,
Yes.
And y'all saw my reaction, man. We peed the trailer. There's some good DNA there. Then I spoke with Eric. I hadn't watched the film yet, but as of this recording, y'all, I saw this amazing film that y'all put together.
Thank you.
There's a lot of I'm curious, how you got certain cats involved, but the DNA there shows a throwback to like classic filmmaking, and there's this different styles that I appreciated. I'm curious. I'm gonna start to throw it to you, Jack, because this story came from you initially.
Yes.
That throwback and that love, I guess, for classic stuff, which is the vibe I got. If we can just talk a little bit about the writing process, the pre-pro, and then when you brought Elliot on board and you're like, hey, let's make this our first project.
Yes, and I think it was a very strong choice to do that and stylize it. And, you never want to go into writing a script saying, hey, you always want to just go let the mind free, right? But, but there is a producer side of me that's like, well, you're writing this. Like the way I wrote The Private Eye is I was writing this script and about 60 pages in, I wasn't writing The Private Eye, it was a different script. And about 60 pages in, I looked at the script and I'm like, damn, dude, I'm going to need like $10 to $20 million for all these explosions and everything like that. And I was like, well, I got to step back and I got to be realistic. And so I actually wrote, this neo-noir that's very stylized because I know I didn't have a big budget because as you know, as a filmmaker, one of the biggest challenge that I had was, I'm a director and this is my first directorial debut. And, I'd go to investors and I'd be like, hey, I want to make a movie. And they're like, well, what have you made before? And I'm like, well, nothing. That's why I need you to invest in this movie. So, I knew that was one of the big challenges. So I knew I was going to have to pull in a lot of favors. So that's why we stylized the movie movie and very like the neo-noir Rembrandt lighting, and then, the longer shots, and, it's a very actor's piece. There's a lot of dialogue, if you notice. And the actors, that is, everything was really great. I'm thankful for the crew, but the actors really pulled off some of these performances that I am very impressed with. And we did a lot of rehearsals. So just to end this answer, I was trained by this director. His name was Mike Nichols. And, he would always talk about in the class how he thinks the problem with cinema nowadays is just too many cuts, too much coverage. And he liked longer shots. So I was very influenced for this movie, particularly about that. And I wanted to bring this old factor. And yes, I didn't have the budget. Like originally I wanted the black and white shots. I wanted to shoot that in like Super 16, or 35 millimeter, but I didn't have the budget for it. So, but you do what you had to do. And I think we really pulled this one off better than most films at this budget, I think. And we had very fortunate opportunities because of it.
Love it. So pre-pro, you have the scripts, you get with Elliot I'm not sure what stage you came in, Elliot, but like you're one of the cast. You're owner with Illusion, but you play, this house, the guru, the ex-boyfriend,
yes,
if you will. What was it like? Did you already like know Jack at that time, and like the character you wanted to play? If you can tell me how, like, when you slid in there.
Sure, yeah. So I met Jack, like we talked about earlier, and after developing our friendship, we actually went probably about a year after meeting each other before we reconnected. And then once we reconnected, that's when our friendship really started taking off. And he's like, man, I got this script I just wrote, and I got the perfect role for you. And I thought he was coming over to my house, and I thought he was presenting me like the project, just like, let's do this. But he was offering me a role. So he come over, offers me the role of David. And of course, like, I was all in. And then right from that moment, we're like, all right, well, now we got to raise money. Now we got to cast it. Now we got to, produce it. And from that, it basically just turned into us forming Illusion Islands, because, who better than to count on yourself. I mean, if no one's going to work as hard for us as we work for ourselves. So that's where we kind of turned, and we're like, okay, we got to convince people to help us fund this. We got to convince people as to why they need to believe in us and bet on us. And it took us I joined in probably 6 to 7 years before we actually filmed it. And so it took us a lot of hoops and loops to get through and over, and a lot of just obstacles. But when the universe and God told us the time was right, that's when it all just took off and everything came flowing in, and we made it happen.
Yeah. And on that, we literally, like, it's very important to pick a date. Like, we, right when we decided, hey, we're filming in September, no matter what, if you really make a decision in your head and you really want it, you will be filming in December. And that's exactly how it happened.
And we gave ourselves that deadline, and we gave ourselves the goal budget to have by the deadline. We maybe had a third of that goal budget. And I don't want to get into too many of the obstacles and the hardships, but we were starting on a Monday, whether we had all the money or not. And the Friday before that Monday, our director of photography that we had locked in quit. So he was too overwhelmed by everything. And I think he made too many promises to us that maybe he couldn't fulfill. And so not only were we like, damn, we only got a third of the budget, and now we got to find another cinematographer, but we made some calls. And Monday, once we hit the ground running and called action, the rest of the goal budget flew in even more than what our goal was. And the moral of the story is once you actually lay that concrete and take that first step, that's when it becomes real. And that's when the people who have been watching from afar, that's when they're like, all right, I'm in. Because you can talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
And people will listen to you, people will support you, people will root for you. But until you're actually making moves, what gives them reason to want to jump in?
Agreed. Well said, gentlemen. I love that. It's motivational right now.
Yeah, man.
Yes. We're on the wave.
Let's go. All right. I have to ask. I think the biggest key and what's also going to blow this thing the hell up. There's many stars in this. You are both stars, but Matt Rife, man, he's taking over the world, and the legend in Eric Roberts, man.
Yes.
Tell me, bringing them both on board to play, in this in the Private Eye.
Yes, well, this is so awesome because, like, when you're making an independent film, and you're working on limited budget, what you usually do, and like, because I'm a stickler, I like rehearsals. Like, I like doing minimum 15-day rehearsals. Okay. And so my lead actor that I was going to work with, I was like, man, they got to rehearse for 15 days. And it's going to be another 4 weeks of filming. So we, what we did when you do these independent films, you try to cast the most famous people in the supporting roles, because the supporting roles, you only need them for 1 day, or you only need them for 3 days. So that's where, we got Eric Griffin in for a day, we got Eric Roberts in, I think he did 3 days, so we got all, and Denzel Whitaker, I think he did 3 days. And, Bird the bailiff from Judge Judy, that's Petrie Hawkins Bird, he was in for a day. And, like
Jay
literally
Reeves.
Jay Reeves, all these, there is so many stars that are in it in the supporting
Lexi
cast.
Pantera.
But at the time, Lexi Pantera, Clare Grant. But the thing is Matt was not blown up until like June of this year. Like that's when he really that's when he was a household name. And then about 6 months before that, like a year ago, is when he really started to rise in star power. But when we filmed this, Matt was just the best actor. Like literally, this is my baby. I wrote this movie originally so I could be the lead actor. It needed to be perfect. And so when I met Matt, Elliot and I, like, we met Matt at the same time, and I really, I just saw something in him, and he was just perfect for this role. Because the casting, you could cast your friends, but if you want to make a really good movie, you just got to cast whoever is perfect for this role. And Matt was perfect for this role. And another thing is he wanted it just as much as we did. There was 4 key factors of this movie that made this movie work, and I'm grateful for all 4 of them. One was Elliot, one was our producer Hope Ayiyi, and one was Matt and myself. We literally used every favor that we had in Hollywood, and bringing in actors, bringing in crew, locations, everything, and literally we used every favor and we pulled it off, and that's exactly how we made this movie.
Congrats, man! Wow, yeah, and Eric Roberts. Did you know automatically he would be a great older version? I think it was perfect.
Well, actually, so that when we casted Matt the first time, it was our second project, I think, with Eric, and Eric was the lead, and we were trying to find somebody to play Eric's son. And Liza Roberts, our casting director, actually was like, "Hey, look at this guy, this kid, Matt Rife. He looks just like, younger Eric." And we looked at him, we're like, damn, he looks exactly like young Eric Roberts. So he played his son in another movie that we did. But that's where we met Matt, and I'm literally in the editing booth and with the editor, and everybody that would walk in was like, who is this kid? Who is this kid? And it was Matt, and like I was like, dude, this guy has to be Mort Madison. There's no other person that can play Mort Madison. And that's how it worked.
And then Eric, he jumped on, and Eric's told us many times he wants to be involved in all of the movies we do for life. Yeah. And it's a blessing to have him, such an OG on board. I mean, man, you go back through Eric's track record from, the 70s and beyond. I mean, that dude,
that's a great cosign.
Killing it. Yeah.
That's an amazing cosign right there.
And he's an amazing actor.
The funny thing is, maybe we'll talk to you about this the next time after the movie comes out. But we actually changed the story around a little bit for Eric's character himself. Like, we knew he was going to be in it somewhere, somehow. But then all of a sudden, like, we just had the best idea. And you've seen the movie, so you know how it unfolds. But it wasn't supposed to be like that originally. We did a few different we were changes to the script.
That's how scripts happen. They rewrite even during the filming. And just for the audience sake, I mean, why we're saying all this is because it's a mystery movie and there's some things we can't reveal. But I want to say it here first. Something that I love that Eric has always told us, and and I think we're going to get it, in our next movie is Eric knows that we do anything and we pull off miracles in these independent films, and he always has told us, I can't wait to see when you guys got a real budget.
Yeah.
Seriously, I having seen it, I just see a lot of potential. What I'm very curious to see what you guys can do next. Elliot, you have a lot of charisma. I'm interested in a different kind of a role. I thought it was a good role. I thought you were great. Yeah. But I'm curious of you. I think you could be a lead, bro. Like I could have like maybe have put you in that place.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And Jack, the writing, direction, just everything. This is a great opening film for a studio, and props to you both. I wish I had more time, but I'm seeing that you guys have some other things coming up. But again, kudos to you both. I love it. As you develop those next projects, please come back. Let me give you your flowers and chat it up and do what I can over here.
Thank you. Anytime, any place. We'll be here.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Jack Cook, Elliot, The Private Eye, Illusion Islands.
Let's go.
February 9th. Check it out.
Yeah, February 9th in theaters.
They just said it. There you go. February 9th, y'all. Your boy Kuya P, Nerds Rule the World. All right, there's a cut, guys. Recording. All right, I'm gonna count this in to help me with my edit because I'm gonna put the trailer before the interview.
Thank you.
All right, here we go in a 1, 2, 3.